Start again. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. And today we are going to have Dr. Horowitz speak on 5-2 Hertz and 5-2-8 Hertz and the musical cold control. And if you've never heard his presentation before, it's amazing. And you're going to learn so much today about how we can save this planet through the universal communication of love via music and the 5-2-8 Hertz frequency. We have some awesome products that I want to tell you about before I bring Dr. Horowitz on that we have here, and they're all in 528. We have Oxy Silver, which is the world's most powerful silver hydrosol. And we also have, and if you actually feel like you're coming down with something, Oxy Silver will definitely take that away. We have a 100% money back guarantee on it that you will not get sick if you take Oxy Silver. It's a silver hydrosol, not like a colloidal silver, so it gets into your bloodstream, does its job, and then goes right out. It's safe for babies, it's safe for pets, and safe for your eyes, safe for your ears. It's very amazing. We call it the only nutraceutical that can be used with prayer. We also have...
No, designed to be used with prayer.
Designed to be used with prayer, actually, yeah. So, I mean, it really works, and prayer makes it work more. We also have Liquid Dentist. Liquid Dentist is amazing. We have so many people who contact us and say they get miraculous experiences, healing experiences with their teeth. A woman actually called us and said she grew some teeth back. There was another person who said that she went to the dentist and had a bunch of cavities, and she's been taking Liquid Dentist. She went back again, and she has no cavities. And we've heard that more than once.
Would that be something good to take before you go in for oral surgery?
You could take it before. Well,
I would do, for that I would use Oxy Silver.
Yes.
Yeah, that, instead of if it was me, and I'm not your, if it was me, I would be able to be very, very comfortable going into oral surgery with a desire that the oral surgeon has to premedicate me against infections and heart problems. I would be very, very comfortable using Oxy Silver for that. Yeah.
And Dr. Horowitz has his book of 528 here. If you have not read this book, it's outstanding, and he'll autograph it for you. Everything is on discount. All the products are on discount. The supplements are $25 each, and the book is $25. And then we have Pyramid Orgon generators, which are amazing. You can put them on the dashboard of your car. We call them auto energizers, 528 auto energizers. And you can put them on the dashboard of your car, and you can take them off, put them on your pane. They're made with crystals, gemstones, copper coil, and magnets. And they're amazing. I mean, they really do help with pain. So those are also discounted. Those are $50. If you buy regularly, they're $69. If you buy two of them, you get two of them for $70. So if there's somebody you want to give a gift to, it's an amazing gift to give to someone. Anyway, I want to introduce Dr. Horowitz to you right now. He is a world-renowned author of 18 books, 3 national bestsellers, and documentaries that tell the truth, expose things, and also will help heal the planet. Welcome, Dr. Horowitz.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you very much. So again, for the media in the room, typically the media will capture what Sherry just said and say that Dr. Horowitz is here simply to sell his wares, his books, and his products. And my criticism of that is the media is here to sell their books, to sell their products, their advertisers. So essentially, that's not what we're about. Obviously, from the presentation that you're about to receive, you can absolutely be certain that we're involved in the business of saving lives. We're in the business of communicating most wonderful things that this planet has not seen in millennia. And that's what the 528 revolution is really about. So welcome. Thank you for being here. This presentation today is based on these books, pretty much. Of course, we've had dozens of wonderful people like Jeffrey Smith in the audience here who has contributed our knowledge and our awareness in various fields. But really, so you're really having, like Andrew Wakefield yesterday, you have a community of contributors in the scientific realm, in the metaphysical, spiritual realm that have contributed to this knowledge. But basically, what I'm about to share is a summary of what's in the books initially was Healing Codes for the Biological Apocalypse. I didn't want to take the project. Dr. Joseph Palaio came to me. He said, Jesus has directed you to come to me. And I thought he was crazy. I said, Joey, that's very kind, sweet. He's dead now. God bless his soul. But basically in 1998, I was invited, actually directed, to have a spaghetti meal with an Italian doctor and a good Catholic in northern Idaho, Dr. Joseph Palaio, who laid on me the original musical scale. And he said that Jesus gave it to him. And the first chapter of the book deals with Joey's, actually first 6 chapters, it's all Joey's story. And I didn't want to do it. I was kicking and screaming pretty much the whole time. Ultimately, it came out with the book, Healing Codes for the Biological Apocalypse, that revealed the original musical scale that had been secreted for millennia. You have to go back, and I'll share with this in a minute. But at any rate, from there, I then, at a desperate time in my life, pretty much the most saddest time in my life, I was invited to speak in South Africa, and there was a group that was meeting just before Positive 2006, which was the major European fundraiser for AIDS, HIV/AIDS. People know in this room, many of you, are most infamous or famous for publishing the book Emerging Viruses, AIDS and Ebola, wherein I published, again by the grace of God, I found the United States government contracts under which numerous AIDS-like and Ebola-like viruses were bioengineered by the Army's 6th top biological weapons contracting lab called Litton Bionetics, a medical subsidiary of the mega military weapons contracting firm called Litton Industries. So I covered that information. I was very knowledgeable about HIV/AIDS. I was invited to speak right before this conference, and I connected with the middle-level managers in Sun City, South Africa, the Palace, which is considered the most magnificent hotel in the world. And they apologized for putting me in a room that was $550 a night. That was the least nice room that they had in the hotel because they were completely sold out. They had thousands of artisans, Europe's finest chefs and fashion designers. Everybody had contributed art and jewelry for auction, and they raised a lot of money for hospices because there were so many children who were parentless. At least half of the children in that whole area had lost at least one, if not both, parents to HIV/AIDS. So as I was speaking with the room, they would come in 5 times a day. Before you go to sleep, they would lay rose petals and chocolates on your pillows and across your bedspread. This is the kind of place it was. And yet if you spoke to those people, they would leave that job and they would go 2-3 miles down the road, and they would have to deal with the fact that they needed to give bread, their own food, to the children who had nothing, who had no parents even to take care of them. So it was obvious that there was that problem. To make a long story short, we had intended to educate them. I started to work with them. We developed a flyer. On the front page was all about who created AIDS, where it came from. On the back side was how to cure it, which I'm going to talk a little bit about today. How to cure these kinds of infectious diseases. Not hard at all. And so they printed up, there was 8,000 people who were about to come to the Seal concert. You know Seal? Okay. He was donating his time to give a concert that night in the big, huge arena. And so management of the hotel printed up 8,000 flyers. They got all the staff at all the doors ready to hand them out at 6 o'clock. They were all there at 5:45. And at 5 of 6, the hotel security came. The highest level managers heard about it. The owners heard about it. And they said, we're not going to have this. And they confiscated all of the flyers. So I went back to my room. I was crying. I said to God, I can't believe it. You brought me all across the world to have this wonderful thing happen. What is this about? And miraculously, God said to me, read that book over there. On the table, on the coffee table, was a book. I opened the book, and the book gave me some references. And then I heard the voice say, this is not about HIV/AIDS. Your mission is not just about HIV/AIDS. Your mission is about curing all diseases. Go study Da Vinci. Go study the Da Vinci Code. Your perfect circle of sound, your original musical scale, is the real Da Vinci Code. So it was like 1:30 in the morning. I ran down to the hotel business office. I got on the computer, and within 3 hours, I got the book, Love, the Real Da Vinci Code. And for the women in the audience, I want to apologize to you for all of the men on this planet that have screwed everything up so severely. And that it is time, indeed, you've heard it from many women. I don't know if you've heard it from many men. It's time for the feminine goddess to be expressed, because the men can't do it. They can't have 1,000 years of world peace with that kind of arrogance, insanity, criminal psychopathology, which we have been demonstrating through the military-industrial complex. That's really what the message of the book, the cover of the book is, and the fundamental message is that you have two people in the most famous Da Vinci drawing. It's called the Vitruvian Man, named by the Catholic Church. The male-dominated Roman Catholic Church made it a man. Guess what? There's a woman behind the man. There's two people there. 4 arms, 4 legs. There's obviously 2 people. And there's one head. You can't see the woman's head. She's behind it. But the 9 projections project to the 9 core creative frequencies that I'm going to be sharing with you how I then were able to determine. That is the real musical mathematical matrix of creation. Let me say that again. A musical mathematical matrix of creation is the real Da Vinci Code. And at the heart of that, the keynote is 528. It is the miracle note of the original musical scale. Ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la. So that's how, kind of like the sequence of books that deal with the book of 528, which we have a few copies here. Susan said to me, Len, people want to buy your stuff. Bring it. So we schlepped it, if you know what I mean. We're dragging it around. I prefer not to, but please, if you can support us, buy it. If you like it, like the stuff is great. It'll help us not to have to ship it back or schlep it back to our rooms, okay? So at any rate, that's the book of 528. is fantastic. It's an amazing book. It's monumental. It is revolutionary because it comes out with the simplest truths. This is a picture, gorgeous picture, of water molecules. This is a structure, a crystalline structure that was produced by researchers in Russia. It was given to me by David Sarita, who's a colleague researcher from Arizona. And it was based on Dr. Masaru Emoto. How many of you remember Dr. Emoto? He's a dear colleague, friend of mine. Dear friend, he passed away about a year ago. And Dr. Emoto had 3 New York bestsellers on the messages in water. And his thesis is that water is conscious. That water knows you, can communicate with you, actually send you messages if you examine it carefully. And he invented the water crystallography, where flash freezing water and then putting it under a 20,000 magnification, you can begin to see certain structuring of the water, and you can see even certain messages in the water, such as what I'll show you in a second. This was the sound of the sun, measured by NASA. NASA recorded the sound of the sun, and if you play that, David Sarita pointed this out to me. He says, if you play that, listen to it, Len, and you take out your 528 tuning fork, and you hit the tuning fork, and you listen to the sound of the sound of the sun is waffling right around 528. And then, of course, later on, we learned so many other wonderful things, such as if you take a microphone to a honeybee nest, and you leave it there, and you record the sound of a honeybees, it's right on 528. And there's numerous other things I'll be sharing with you. But at any rate, this is Dr. Emoto at our place in Hawaii, which right now there is a mob of agents that are trying to steal our property, so we ask for your prayers and support. But at any rate, there's Dr. Emoto in front of our place in Hawaii. And you see the steam that's rising from the lava heated steam. We have an amazing geothermal estate. And this is holy water. It's holy water. And we drink it, we breathe it. It's amazing, unbelievable. Now, Dr. Emoto researched it. He took samples of it back to Japan, and he sent me a dozen series of slides. And he said, I don't know what this is. He said, maybe you do, Len. Maybe you know what this is. And I was shocked. I go, whoa! Virtually the entire series all had to do with female reproduction. How did I know that? Well, when I was on the faculty at Tufts School of Dental Medicine and also teaching Tufts dental students in medical histology, I was also teaching medical histology at Harvard and at Tufts. What you see in the slides, you see the female reproductive tract. And you see, like microscopically, what the egg in the uterine wall looks like, all the little sections of the tissue samples from the reproductive tract. And then every single one of the slides that Dr. Emoto sent me looked like that. But it was all water crystals. It was a message in the water. And then the last one looks like this. Now, it's not a good high-quality definition slide because we're losing some of the perfect imagery here. But you can see there's what appears to be a head, there's a body, and there's legs, and there's a umbilicus in the center of a water molecule. Now, Dr. Emoto, you could consider this a double-blind study, really. Because Dr. Emoto didn't know what he was looking for. He didn't have any agenda. He had understood that he was just wanting to get me what it was. And when he didn't know that the native Hawaiian prophecy of this island is that 1,000 years of world peace shall reign when the Aloha spirit comes out from the Big Island. It shall be preceded by an umbilical cord that opens from the center of the universe and comes down through the mountain right above basically our house. This is in Puna, Hawaii. If you look at what's been in the news in the last year, the TMT, 30-meter telescope project, has been in the news. Right now, it's been held up. Yesterday, I gave a little presentation about a little part of that, how the 30-meter telescope is probably the world's worst weapon, most powerful weapon that's ever been developed on the face of the planet. It's been disguised. At any rate, the rebirthing of civilization shall come, says the ancient Hawaiian prophecies, through this magnificent restoration, that upon the construction of an ancient Hawaiian temple. When the ancient Hawaiian temple is reconstructed, that's when the prophecy says the umbilical cord shall open up and rebirth through Hawaii, the Aloha spirit internationally. So that is what the message that we got from this particular water. There it is a little bit in greater detail. And yeah, if you ask the question in the fine detail, if you show the people in medicine, that they all tell you it looks like an ultrasound image of a fetus. That's what it looks like. Okay, thank you. So for the hard scientists and the people who are disbelievers, I'm thrilled to work with some of the world's leading physicists and mathematicians. Some of these guys are like, I can't even keep up with them, obviously, because they're geniuses to the max. And one of those people is Victor Showell. There's another Dr. Vernon Neppy who we're currently working with, and Ed Close, MD, PhD, neuroscience experts who literally within the last couple months have published the God matrix. Everything that I'm telling you, because God's language is math, and you'll see more about this in a second, in a couple minutes, but God's language is math, never lies. 1 and 1 is always 2, unless you're a cheater. And so what Victor Showell had done this presentation, this graphic presentation of the hexagonal shape. Again, you'll see the hexagonal shape comes as a matter of sacred geometry from sound, which is mathematics. Word is sound. Sound is electromagnetic frequencies. What's that? Simply cycles per second. Math. So, because we were so attacked, and have been so attacked, and because the power of what I'm about to present to you is so extraordinary, the pharmaceutical industrialists and the military industrialists do not want you to have that, so they have a protection racketeers, trolls, come out, and what they do is they divert and they discredit. And so there's been a huge movement to discredit and divert. And the diversion has happened primarily for those people who have been promoting 432 hertz as a great natural frequency. 432 hertz. And they've been saying, oh, Horowitz is a liar, Horowitz is a thief, Horowitz is a demonic entity. That 528 is the devil's tone. Literally, you can go on the internet and see this crap. But so Victor Showell said, let me do an analysis on the relationship between 528 and 432. And so that's what you're looking at here. And you come out with the realization that there's nothing wrong with 432. It's a wonderful, natural, very central frequency to creation, to the matrix. But it's not one of the original solfeggio musical notes, and it's not at all in dissonance with 528. It's in harmony with 528. And in fact, everything in the universe is in harmony with 528, except, get this, and I'm not making this up, I know it seems like I might be, except the devil's tone. The devil's tone. What the heck is the devil's tone? Well, the devil's tone is a term in musicology that is called the augmented fourth, or the diminished fifth, or the tritone. And you experience it whenever you go see horror movies. Whenever you go and listen to even an emergency vehicle that goes, ee-aw, 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 you're actually going between 528 and 741. The 741 is a natural note in the matrix I'll be showing you. But it's really what causes distress, degeneration. And so we have, by this information, determined that indeed good versus evil was part of the matrix. It was part of the plan. And that essentially we have a choice. We can do what the Rockefellers institutionalized in 1938. The music that you're listening to right now, when you turn on the massive amount of radio, watching films, movies, entertainment, the most powerful subliminal and even conscious messaging is done by the sounds and the music, the background. And that information is either it's either distressing you or uplifting you. It's pretty much black and white. When you're dealing with 741, which was institutionalized when they created what's called standard tuning. You know, when musicians get together and vocalists get together with the musicians, they all have to tune to the same tone. And that's called standard tuning, concert pitch. And that was institutionalized in 1938 for the Western world. The Rockefeller Foundation, after about 10 years of acoustic weaponry research and development, between early 1930s to 1938, EMI, RCA, Rockefeller Foundation institutionalized the A440 standard tuning. And when they did that, they had a hard time. Because think about it, you had the world's finest European musicians, especially in Vienna, where it's the heart of the old music world. These guys were into A444. Mostly, A444 was what they were tuning their instruments to and orchestras to. And so, suddenly now, Rockefeller et al. Decided that they were going to persuade them to change that. Well, how did they do that? They needed propaganda. And they had to hire the most expert propagandist in Europe at the time was none other than Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister for the Third Reich. So unbelievable as it is, 3 months before Hitler invaded Poland, and obviously British intelligence knew that Hitler was arming to begin what became World War II, and America likewise knew, they had that intelligence. Joseph Goebbels goes before the British Standards Institute and actually persuades the British Standards Institute to institutionalize A440 standard tuning for the Western world. Since that time, we have all been listening to, in that scale, in that tuning, what amounts to the F sharp note, which is dominant in the D major chord. Now, major chords are very regularly played in music. The D major chord includes the F sharp note that plays 741, that stimulates the pineal gland, that stimulates the ego, stimulates stress, stimulates degeneration, stimulates cultural indoctrination, stimulates everything that's ongoing today subliminally, energetically. So if you simply tune up from A440 to A444, your C note, which is the base of the scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, goes right in sync with nature, with the heart of nature, with 528. Your C becomes 528. So this is an image now. This was produced by John Stuart Reid, who's a world-leading expert in cymatics and the truth that literally is part of what shall set us free. The energy that's coming out of sound has an impact on matter. That is the field called cymatics. And that what you're looking at, John Stuart Reid was shocked when he saw it. He never saw anything like it. He sent it to me. He says, Len, I played 528 to the water, and you come out with a perfect circle that, and it's distorted here, but this is actually circular. And it's 36-pointed star. A 36-pointed star is 360-degree circle. The circle, 360-degree sacred geometry circle, is the basis for all space-time measurement. All time, all measurement is based on the circle. That's how we got 360-degree circle. So that's what 528 produces. That is some significant evidence indicating that 528 is really at the heart of all sacred geometry and all creation and our concept of reality that's measured in space-time. There's many other factors to consider. So this is the cymatic science. Da Vinci was into it. The ancient Pythagorean mathematical geniuses, Plato, Pythagoras, Vitruvius, Aristotle. They were all involved in mathematics. I'll show you some more evidence of that in a second. You're a carbon-6. Why aren't you a carbon-7 being? Carbon-6 is the hexagonal shape ring. Bees make their honeycombs buzzing in 528 in hexagons. Now you're beginning to understand how come. It is principally the 528 frequency that's at the heart of that energy that's producing our reality. And in my opinion, all universal reality. So these are images of sound being played onto various media whereby shapes of the hexagons are coming out. That is the science called cymatics, and John Stuart Reid is one of the world's leading experts currently in that field. This is how I began. I'm going to just briefly, really quickly run through this, so please forgive me. You can read the book Healing Codes. You can read the other books to get more in depth. But the magic of this mathematical language that we're speaking, English, sources from Hebrew. There are sacred languages, Sanskrit, ancient Aramaic, Hebrew, happens to be sacred languages that, according to some evidence, when you speak those words, it vibrates matter cymatically into the shape of the letters of the language, interestingly enough. But at any rate, when Joey, Dr. Joseph Palaio, was directed to consider these issues and these facts, you take the English language 1 through 26, or 1 through 9, 1 through 9, 1 through 8, and then you begin to look at some of the words that we use in the English language, such as faith, God, and trust. They're all 8s. Oh, that's interesting. And then if you take the alphanumerics and then multiples of 8s, you begin to see that you have a countdown pattern, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 9, 2, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know, you see the Z to A, or backwards, the alphanumerics is 1 to 8, and they always add up to 9s. So that you're beginning to see that there is some sort of a cohesiveness, a relevance of the mathematics of each word in the English language, and that's consistent with a lot of wonderful revelations that we've advanced. Nikola Tesla said if humanity only knew the powers of the 3 6s and 9s, it would be a different universe. That's a quote from Nikola Tesla. If humanity only knew the powers of the 3 6s and 9s, it would be now a completely different universe. But the ancient Pythagorean mystery schoolers all said, add the 8s. Plato, Pythagoras. You want to talk about science, the father of science, the first was Aristotle. Aristotle wrote the book Physics, the first science book. Physics came from the term philos, love. Dealt mostly with mathematics. And that the multiples of 3 6s and 9s always give you 3 6s or 9s. And you begin to look at those numbers, and then you begin to look at what Dr. Joseph Palaio had determined were the 6 original solfeggio notes, ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la. And they're all 3 6s and 9s. And the third note, mi, miragistorum in Latin, miracles. Miracles in English. Now, according to Joey's story, the Roman Catholic Church suppressed that knowledge. That this knowledge was before the Bible, and if you read the book Healing Codes for the Biological Apocalypse, you'll realize that where Jesus had directed Joey to the revelation of what I just said is in the book of Numbers, chapter 7, verses 12 through 83, which, if you read that section of the Bible, it's about giving various incense and gold offerings to the temple. It doesn't make that much relevance or any sense really today in today's world. And as a typical Bible reader, you might just gloss over that section of the Bible and just say, I don't know what this is talking about. I'm just like not relevant. So you then miss the most, in my opinion, the most important part of the Bible that's encoded in the verse numbers that lay out the pattern of 396, 417, 528, 639, 741, and 852. The original 6 solfeggio notes. Today it's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. In the old days it was ut, re, mi. And the miragistorum, miracles note, is 528. So that's essentially what Joey came out with. And then I was blessed to come upon the work of Russian space-time physicist Hartmut Müller. Hartmut Müller had looked at mathematical scaling in universal creation. Everything from the microscopic level to the macroscopic level. From little atoms and molecules, how they came together through sound vibration, to the cosmic array, the entire way in which the cosmos is created. And so this is Hartmut Müller's work that I've superimposed the original 6 solfeggio notes, because Müller concluded that it is in the, quote, in 6, end quote, that physical precipitation out of the metaphysical realm of spiritual potential is manifested in 6, in the in 6 nodes, he called them. And so that's really what it is that we're looking for. And then, fascinatingly enough, you see that there is this sequence here that appears to be double-stranded, double-helix DNA. So there is something extraordinary about this number 6. And it's not not used. It's used all the time, as you'll see in a second. When I did the book, Love the Real Da Vinci Code, the imagery itself indicates what's taking place. Everything in the universe is spiraling. The 6 is a spiraling, can be considered like a metaphor for the spiraling down from heaven into the wholeness of earth, into the manifestation of earth. Likewise, the 9 is going back up. Now you're looking at the 6-9, you're looking at the yin-yang symbol. And you're looking at what the multinational corporations routinely use to manifest wealth. If indeed, the 6 number itself is special in terms of manifesting from spiraling down from metaphysical potentiality into physical reality, miraculous manifestation. If indeed that is a consistent thesis, then you would see that kind of expression in the commercial world. And that's indeed exactly what we see. Take a look at the Pepsi symbol, P-E-P-S-I. Okay, first of all, you've got, again, the 6-9 expressed in the logo itself. But put it in a mirror, and what do you see? 1, 2, 9, 3, 9. Which adds to a 6. Now you also begin to understand why it is that America's highway, Route 66, Phillips 66, why it is that you and I played when we were children, tic-tac-toe, X's and O's. In the alphanumerics of the English language, the F, the O, and the X are all 6s. 666. So that when you got done your game, your board matrix said 666, 666, 666. So 6 times 9 is 54. 4 plus 54 is completion. It's a 9. End of game. So this is what we also found out. Now, I'm going to share with you a little bit Marco Rodin's work in a minute that deals with this circular structure. But there were some presentations this couple days on the crop circles and how, you know, there's all this controversy whether it's real or whether it's not real. in my opinion, it was confirmed to me that these things are real and represent extraordinary advanced intelligence from what happened on June 21st, 2009. It was the Sunday that Dr. Emoto and I led 76 groups in 76 nations worldwide in the Concert for the Living Water. I was the executive producer of the Concert of the Living Water. And we had set that to pray for the waters. Again, Dr. Emoto's thesis, I also believe firmly, water is liquid God. Water is liquid God. It's conscious. So to pray over it, to baptize in it, provides an extraordinary special blessing. And so that morning in, I think it's Wiltshire, England, this crop circle appeared right after or right as we were praying. And if you look at it, the whole concept, I've evaluated it here in terms of the mathematics of it. It lays out obviously 2 6s and 9s, 2 yin-yang symbols, and then additionally confirms much of the mathematics and the sacred geometrics. And if it's laid out, also it appears to be laid out in the rows that represent the musical staff. So that was like a, whoa, that's unbelievable. And that's what happened. If you study the Oriental medicine, you know that there's chakra systems. You know that you're an energy being. And that your greenish-yellow section right in here is your will, I will center, as well as your heart. That appears to be the realm that this 528 frequency has a positive impact on, and it facilitates, which gives us the thesis then. If we're to get out of this insanity, the hypocrisy, the criminal psychopathology of genocide globally that we're witnessing, it's got to come not from the journalists. It's not going to come from me as a documentarian. It's got to come through some sort of a metaphysical miracle. We need help from the other side. A lot of people are speculating or stating that we do have help on the other side, and I'm absolutely certain that we do. But the fact of the matter is we're spiritual beings, and this whole concept has got to be now energetically administered. And that's what the music is, and that's what the 528 Love Revolution is really about. So this comes from the early work of Pond, Keeley, and Tesla, where the musical notes all have colors, they all have an impact on your physical body. And we believe that that's the future of medicine. So the 528 Love Revolution has a number of factors and elements and findings that support this whole concept of revolutionizing the world through the 528 love frequency. It's linked to your heart. It's linked to everything. It plays at the heart of the solfeggio. It's fundamental to pi, phi, the golden mean. Nick Begich talked a little bit yesterday about how the golden mean and these kinds of mathematical factors are so important in behavior engineering, by the dark side, in all sorts of positive potentials also that we could advance. 528 is, again, essential to pi, phi, and the golden mean. As I mentioned, it's required for space-time measurement. It's paramount to all sacred geometry. It's crucial. Did you know that there's 5,280 feet precisely in a measured mile? And that it's central to water structuring. And I believe when you understand, again, you've got, let's say, light versus darkness. And you've got, again, the tritone versus 528 love frequency. Then you begin to understand that God has a plan, God has a musical mathematical matrix, and that the only way for, let's say, Yeshua, Jesus, to fulfill the mission of Christianity, which was initially called the Way. It wasn't a doctrine, a dogma. It was an experience and it was a choice. And that key to that was from the heart in love. And that key in that heart of love was communing divinely with the source of creation, with the Creator, whose heart likewise is in love, in 528. It's like a clear channel. Think about it this way. Divine Human Communion, which is Michelangelo's famous drawing in the Sistine Chapel, is about communing your heart with the Creator's heart in full love and faith, right? Think about it as a radio. You're tuning your radio, and your radio is, let's say, 99.6, and you're listening to your favorite music, and suddenly somebody comes along and tunes your radio station 1/10 of 1 hertz difference to 99.7. Suddenly, you lose your clear channel, and you get static. And the static is annoying. If you keep listening to the static, you get distressed, and you still keep listening, you get sick. And if you still keep listening, you die. And basically, that's essentially a metaphor for what's happened spiritually to you and I. We're superhuman beings who have this extraordinary soul spirit connected to the source of creation, and that suddenly now we've been dumbed down, are spiritually suppressed, our souls have been captured, and basically now, in essence, what we've tuned to is 40 in the music world, 40 times. Because 0.1 hertz is 40 times less than 4 hertz. So when you go from A440 to A444, it's 40 times the static that we have now been engaged in for spiritual suppression purposes for those who have this knowledge of this technology, because it's old, it's secreted, and it's real. That best explains how, besides, of course, the neurotoxins such as fluoride in the drinking water and aluminum in the chemtrail sprays and all this other crap that the military, medical, petrochemical, pharmaceutical, banking cartel have been poisoning us with, the fundamental poison is the energetic bio-spiritual suppression that we have been witnessing. In my opinion, based on the evidence that I'm presenting, it fulfills Revelation 3, 6 to 8. It fulfills Isaiah 22:22. The same prophecy. It's rare that you have the same prophecy in the Old Testament as well as the New Testament. Very rare. In this case, you have the key to the house of David. The Star of David is that 6-sided hexagonal shape. It's called Solomon's seal. It is an amulet. It's defined as an amulet for the prevention of infectious diseases. So we believe it's the key to the house of David that opens doors that no man can open, closes doors that no man can close. What kind of doors are they? Got to be energy vortices if men can open and close it. Energy vortex, primarily of the heart. We're all in our heads. We've been put into our heads through the indoctrination systems and the media misrepresentations and diversions. So, subliminally, consciously, we have to all open our hearts to what is natural. And that's what the 528 Love Revolution is all about. That's why Sherry and I have invested all of our time, all of our money, whatever comes in, to establishing the 528 radio network, to put out now, we've got 12 radio stations on the internet in various genres. We'd like to have 36. And by the grace of the Creator, once we get some more financial support, we need probably about $1 million to really do it right. But we've started. You can now go online and you can listen to transposed music. You can even transpose and remaster your music. We spent a lot of money actually developing software online that you can upload an MP3 file and then we'll send it back to you within seconds in a transpose from A440 into A444 C528. And the music becomes medicinal. It becomes relaxing instead of distressing. It becomes increasingly enjoyable. You can't really hear a difference, but you feel a difference. If you're at all inclined in music and you're all spiritually sensitive, you can feel a difference. What happens for me, each one of us is different. I don't know what's going to happen for you, but when I listen to 528 music, almost like that, I know the difference. I get a breath release. I feel, it's a relaxation response. So that's what 528 music gives you. It resonates at the heart of rainbows. Think about it. What's at the heart of a rainbow? Greenish yellow. If it's the heart of the rainbow, think about it. What's a rainbow? It's the electromagnetic color spectrum from sunshine coming down through the water in the clouds, the water falling, precipitation. So if it's true for the heart of the rainbow, it's true for the heart of sunshine. As above, so below. It's true for your heart and my heart and God's heart. Gotta be. So then you've got now this whole other concept. Central to Genesis light, green grass. Oh my goodness, green grass. Gee whiz, now we're going to get involved in some good stuff. What is love? Why is grass green? Why did chlorophyll select that specific color? Because it's intelligent. We're the only ones who are stupid. Human beings are dumbed down, mind-controlled slaves, idiots. It's all around us. What is this producing? In Hawaii, it's called the prana. The energy of life sustains us. The Bible talks about the life that's in the blood. What in the blood carries the life? Hemoglobin. What's the structure of hemoglobin? It's virtually identical to chlorophyll. In fact, if you can't get a blood transfusion, you could substitute ounce per ounce pure chlorophyll in any kind of blood. Chlorophyll and hemoglobin are virtually identical in structure. The only difference is that the plants use magnesium that gives it the color green. We've got iron, red, at the heart of that molecule. Virtually everything else is the same. So essentially, what it is that really sustains us is the breath of life. Now, what is it on that breath of life that's actually doing that? Okay, so here's your, this is a little bit long. I can't go into this, but here's your sunshine. It's producing, now you want to cure global warming. What is global warming? Global warming is supposedly for petrochemicals. You've got this whole problem with carbon dioxide poisoning of the atmosphere. What happens is it's all electrochemistry. You're acidifying the environment. Acidification. Notice in natural medicine, alkalinization is the cure. Alkalinization. What is alkalinization? Oh my goodness, it's just the added loving electron. It's the electron of love that's in the oxygen. If you look at H2O, the water molecule, H plus OH minus equals H2O. You remember that equation? H plus OH minus equals H2O. What is the H plus? Acid. Burning hell. You want to turn your Holy Spirit-filled temple into a disease generator? Go with the natural lifestyle risks. Caffeine, nicotine, sugar, refined carbohydrates, stress, alcohol, pharmaceuticals, and lots of red meat. Okay? Now your body chemistry becomes acidified. What does that mean, acidification? It means H plus goes the electron over to the OH minus hydroxyl alkalinizer. H plus acidification. The H plus is what the solar radiation is. The sun is 100% hydrogen. Solar radiation is the electrons popping off of the hydrogen beaming down on the planet, right? Sun is 100% hydrogen. It's 98% hydrogen, 2% helium. Helium is H. It's double hydrogen. Sun is 100% hydrogen. Solar radiation, all energy for the entire universe. Everything from, and this is universal, beyond our own galaxies. Everything from the blinking of your eye to the comets flying through space, it's all run by electrons of love. The electrons are vibrating. They're vibrating at the heart of sunshine. And so that is essentially what it is that also gives us faith and hope and prayerful reality check. I'm not going to go into this polymath. Study Da Vinci, study Aristotle, and you'll be blown out. Everything that these guys understood and believed in was all, including history. History, electron, energy, the source of the power that powers us. It is the Creator's administrative element. How do you administer from the kingdom of heaven? Reality. All electrons of love coming out. And so philomath, there's a word, philomath, means a lover of learning. We've been degenerated. Our educational systems and indoctrination systems have been dumbing us down. These guys, these geniuses in mathematics and physics, the originators of science, said the whole thing is about loving math. As I mentioned, philosophy, physics, sources from the root word philos, love. So that's really what we're doing, administering in the music world particularly. We've had some wonderful successes in recent years. I don't know if you know Bono from U2, who, in my opinion, has been misguided on many, many ways. Sadly. We're all dumbed down. We all make mistakes. But the reality is he was smart enough to, in his latest album, you remember they released it on the iPhones and the iPads. They send everybody the free U2 album. And in that, the track, the feature track, was dedicated to his mother and his loving mother's memory. Bono loved his mother. She saved his life. And so he produced Iris, that's the name of his mom, in 528. And so we have researchers around the world who are kind of like paying attention to what musicians are actually now incorporating 528. And we get emails and we get, indications where we need to look and confirm these things. So it's catching on. It's snowballing. There's nothing that the Illuminati can do to stop the 528 love revolution. People are waking up. We just had a magnificent woman who likewise has felt persecution in the music industry. Come to watch the film, the Paris Attacks video. I think it's on Saturday night. It's the first public screening that we have. It's an hour and 9 minutes, and then we'll have a brief discussion. You'll see the amazing way in which the entire entertainment world is currently controlled by just a few people today. You're amazing. You can't even imagine it, but it is so. But we have a wonderful woman who likewise felt persecution. Just stay with us for the last 3 weeks in Hawaii. Maria Muldaur. I don't know if you know Maria. Remember Midnight at the Oasis was her famous track. Best friends with Bonnie Raitt. Best friends with Linda Ronstadt. Maria Muldaur just gave Bonnie Raitt a copy of the book of 528. And she was so excited. She says, this is wonderful. We have an engineer, actually, sadly, right now, this Saturday night, I think it is, we're missing Jimmy Messina from Loggins and Messina, who about a year ago was contacted by his engineer, who's a friend of our friend, who said, Jimmy, you should try tuning your guitar up 4 hertz to 528, to A444. So Jimmy does it, and he calls the guy back. He says, I can't believe it. I can sing easier. And how do you do that? If you're a vocalist, you know, usually if you have a certain range, right, a certain range in which your voice can accommodate, suddenly now if you tune up, it's harder, you would think, to be able to sing that note. But no, suddenly you go into that clear channel broadcast where your heart, all of the finest artisans, all of the finest vocalists, all of the finest musicians, you look and you see like Ray Charles, their bodies become the instrument. They are in sync. They are in total tune with the source of inspiration, creative expression. Powerful beauty comes through that. And healing comes through that. And so that's why Jimmy Messina called and said, I can't believe it. I can sing easier, even though it's higher. Because you're going in sync. It's called, in physics, it's called phase locking. You're phase locking into the reason that honeybees are buzzing at 528. You're phase locking into the reason grass is green. You're phase locking into what sustains you, the electron resonating in 528 love. It's magnificent. So we're rebirthing, in essence, science. We're recapturing what all of the greatest scientists knew to be true. So I don't have enough time to deal with Rodin's work. Marco Rodin is a colleague of mine also, world-leading mathematician. But simple is his work. What he did is he basically developed the matrix of the universe by starting with the numbers 1. If you add 1, 2, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 4 is 8, 8 and 8 is 16, where 1 plus 6 is 7, 7 and 7 is 14, where 1 plus 4 is 5, 5 and 5 is 10, where 1 plus 0 is 1 again. You see there is a pattern that reflects your DNA, your fundamental genetic units. And so that's, again, confirmed with Russian space-time physicist Hartmut Muller's work. Likewise determined the same thing. There's a bunch of people who have been doing that. Elizabeth Rauscher was mentioned yesterday by Nick Begich as a colleague who is advancing wonderful work. She works with Nassim Haramein. This is Nassim's slide presentation. And there is a Heart-Mind Institute that has been advancing the importance of the heart being far more intelligent than your dumbed-down mind control brain, the ego. And so that is, again, I spoke earlier about the feminine aspect. We need to have that intuitive, female, giving birth. It is the mother that gives birth. In fact, it's extraordinary when you start to get into this stuff. What in the woman gives birth? It's through the labia. It's through the labiatum, the lips. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. Labiatum that gives birth, that gives creation. So we want to recreate ourselves in the image of the Creator in perfect health. We want to recreate our planet. There's only one way to do it. You've got to use Creator's technology. And we have Winston Shroud here, who's probably certainly the nation's leading expert in looking at the degeneration of the judicial system. And the mission that he's on deals with the fact that you have man's law conflicting with Creator's law. And you can't have that if you want to have a healthy and sustainable society. The degeneration that is being ongoing currently, we're all witnessing, is outrageous. It's an atrocity. It's a violation of intelligence. We call us a civilized society? Are you kidding me? Turning a blind eye to the genocide that's ongoing petrochemically, pharmaceutically, energetically. Man's law has got to reflect God's law. In law, I told this to a judge a couple months ago. You're sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. That is what you say, what you swear upon entering now a courtroom and testifying. Well, think about it. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth means no omissions. The whole truth. No omissions. What in the mainstream media doesn't omit all the most important facts? No misrepresentations. Nothing but the truth. No misrepresentations. And omissions and misrepresentations for intentional manipulation is fraud. So help me God. At the end of that swearing, you say, so help me God, so that you create in that courtroom. You create a holy spiritual place that's sanctified so that the Creator can come down and bless and administer justice. Instead, what we've got is outrageously demonic, totally corrupt and insane, psychopathologically criminal court systems. So this is what the 528 Love Revolution is about. We've got to be in sync with science. We've got to be in sync with facts. We don't want science manipulated. We want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Dr. Emoto also. Dr. Emoto published in our 528 water, in our Holy Spirit love and heat esteem, we call it the breath of the earth, Pele's breath. This structure, interesting, an arch, architecture, arcs, reflecting again the sequences in DNA, the fundamental units of life. DNA is an antenna to the Creator. Let me say that again. DNA, your DNA, is an antenna to the Creator. You are a digital, bioholographic precipitation, crystallization, miraculous manifestation of divine frequency vibrations coming out of water. You wouldn't hear my voice unless this atmosphere was hydrated. We have water. We're not as cool as the dolphins and the whales, the cetacea, who can sing and communicate thousands of miles under the liquid crystal superconductor of sound we call water. Water is a liquid crystal superconductor of sound and light. Your body is 80% ocean water. The only other 20% is lava rock. You're made of 100% natural ingredients, 80% seawater, and 20% lava rock, which is the source of all the elements, which is the source of all the proteins, all the carbohydrates, all of the building blocks for your physical body. And what's really taking place, because your DNA is receiving and transmitting sound and light signals. In fact, the Rockefellers have everybody snowed. Everybody, if you think about the genetics biotech, here we're talking about big pharma, big biotech, and big banking. And the whole biotech deals with DNA, saying that what we're talking about, what Dr. Horowitz is saying now, is talking about junk DNA. That's what they call 94% of what I'm talking about. They call it junk. In other words, take the Creator's creation to the dump. It ain't worth anything. Where the action is at is what's patentable, the genetic sequences. So that is the commercial insanity and the hypocrisy, the deletion, the omission of 94% of the function of your DNA, which receives and transmits the light signals from the ambient electromagnetic matrix, at the heart of which is this love, vibration. And so this is what it is that we're revealing again, and we're advancing again. The DNA is an antenna. What Dr. Lorenzen had talked about, this antenna receives and transmits, communicates intercellularly, so that upregulation, it's called cellular upregulation. cellular upregulation, where it communicates this frequency resonance from the divine matrix comes and then uploads this magnificent cymatic vibration so that you manifest in this physical reality. That's how the cells manifest, moment to moment, instant to instant. So in other words, we're all dumbed down, ingrained into this concept that in order to treat the physical ailment of this Holy Spirit-filled temple, you've got to poison it. Instead of realizing that at every nano instant, you're being re-manifested by this miraculous music. You're being remade every nano instant. You can thank, in other words, your parents. Let's say you have, let's say beautiful brown eyes or blue eyes. You can thank your parents 4% for giving you the genes that give you the brown eyes or the blue eyes. You can thank the Creator at every nano instant for re-manifesting your blue eyes. When you look at me right now, you're not seeing protons, you're not seeing neutrons. You're only seeing an electron cloud. The physicists don't even know what electrons are yet. Somebody says it's a wave particle. Somebody says it's a wave, a particle. What is it? So you begin to... Oh, we have the authorities here. Am I being arrested? They're going to throw me off the boat? Just for going down. Just restrained. So at any rate, the bottom line here is that you're looking at me and you're seeing a bioholographic precipitation, crystallization, miraculous manifestation of divine frequency vibrations coming out of water. That's when I see you, that's what I'm looking at.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, you are a digital. Digital mathematical. Mathematics, creator's language is math. Digital, bioholographic. You know what a hologram is? You're a biohologram. You're a living, organic, biological phenomenon that's manifesting in a quantum field that I am seeing and I'm thinking in my indoctrinated brain that it is hard, cold physical reality. Yes, it's flesh and blood. Yes, it feels hard in this dimension. But there are at least 36 dimensions. In my opinion, the scientists have thus far confirmed at least 9. So my time is up. I want to thank you very much for your attendance today. And I would greatly appreciate it, again, if you would be so kind as to support our work and Sherry's work by blessing yourself with some of our products. I didn't have time to tell you about OxySilver. I would like to be able to. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time. I just will leave you with this. It is the first nutraceutical that's designed. It vibrates in 528 love. And I ask that you use it as a holy water with prayer, because it's a double superconductor of the sound and light of love. For those of you who are sensitive, close your eyes and you will be able to feel that light of healing, of love, energy, moving through and ousting all the viral whatever it's taking over your body. Thank you.